Wow, guys, now we do have Dr. Despina in the house. She is a psychologist who specializes in grief counseling, and she's going to be talking to us a little bit about how we deal with our hurt during a time like this. Welcome to the show, Dr. Despina. Always lovely to see you. Now, let's start off at the beginning with you. What did Tata Madiba mean to you?
I would say courage, compassion, great love, and forgiveness.
So when you heard the news, what were the thoughts that were going through your mind at that time?
I must admit, when I first heard the news, I felt a bit of relief for Tata Madiba because he'd obviously been sick for a while, and he was an old man, and I think he probably needed to rest.
Okay, cool.
But a little while later, it was obviously very sad.
It hit you.
Sad news, yeah. Suddenly it hits you, and you just think, wow.
Wow, now so many young people and people in general, go through the loss of a loved one. I mean, what do you say to someone going through a loss? How do you actually maintain your strength and courage at that time?
I would say to somebody going through a loss, first, if you need to cry, have a very good cry. Don't try and hold back on the tears. Don't try and hold it inside of you. Talk about it, cry about it, share it with those who are near and dear to you and those who may also be experiencing the loss. Really experience it. But also, to get you beyond that, sometimes focus on the incredible moments that you had with that person, or the incredible things that you learned from them or are inspired by them.
Okay, cool. Now, what happens if you don't let all of that out? If you actually decide, no, I'm going to be strong, I have to be strong for everyone else, or I don't want to actually break down in front of people?
I think often what happens is you just break down later, or in some way you might get into different behaviors that aren't
Could it lead to some destructive behavior?
Absolutely, like excessive drinking, or maybe using drugs, or just becoming very depressed, actually.
Okay, cool. Now, as the youth of the nation, obviously everyone is feeling this hurt right now. How can we actually turn what we're feeling into something positive?
I mean, this man is just such an incredible person that to focus on everything that he's given us, the changes that he made, and to continue to live those changes and to perhaps create more changes from the changes that he instigated, I think is the best way to really grieve him and to memorize him.
I think it's really beautiful because personally, I've also been on that celebration tip. I've looked at everything that he's achieved, and I've just decided, even if I would shed tears, that my tears would rather be, joyful tears at the end of the day, because when you look at the achievement, you actually can't be sad, and you can actually take a leaf out of his book and you can look at yourself and say, how can I better my society, and start with changes all around me. So what would you say, Dr. Despina, to someone who has lost someone extremely close to them, like a parent?
I would say again, allowing that emotion out, but also focusing on all the good things and the things about that parent that inspired you, the values they gave you, and how to keep on keeping them alive in your life, because I truly believe that people live on in spirit, and that you can keep people alive and close to you by drawing on the values and the memories and keeping those with you day by day as you grow.
Now, sometimes there could be this pressure to, continue the legacy of a parent or a great one, and people actually get lost in that. How do you deal with this? I have to live up to what my mom did.
I know, it's very
difficult.
It can be very difficult. I think again, it's been amazing to watch this country because there's been this incredible celebration and joy. But I think for you to find your own meaning and the things,
your own expression. Like the guys in studio are actually painting a mural. They're actually doing some graffiti, and that's their expression. That's their way of celebrating. That's their way of living on his legacy.
And you don't have to take on exactly what your parent did, but to think about what they did and what in that inspired you as a person. And every person will take something different from a situation. So take what you can that is really about who you are and resonates in your life.
Okay, so Dr. Despina, I have to ask you, what has been your iconic Madiba moment?
I was watching something, first of all, when he first spoke,
Woo,
that walk in the parade. I know, incredible,
at the City Hall.
Incredible. And wearing that Springbok jersey onto the field.
1995.
Unbelievable.
Iconic moments. Well, Dr. Despina, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for helping us, just deal with our grief in a positive way. Guys, Dr. Despina is going to be with us in studio for the entire show.